My personal opinion is that we shouldn't look to anybody for outside validation, and all art should be done for oneself. Don't go into art for anybody but yourself, for the journey of learning, growing, and honing a craft. Thanks, it helps. I gave up art recently and just questioning if it's worth doing. Oof. Gave up art, questioning if it's worth doing. I have been in both of those situations. And I have to say that primarily I had to discover the reasons that I was doing art, right? So I had to say, am I doing art for validation from external sources? Like, am I doing art because I want people to see it and interact with it and give me some dopamine in response? Or am I doing art because I want art for myself and I want to be better at this creation process? Do I want to study something and then create something from nothing, right? And that's a personal place to be in, a personal question that every artist has to ask themselves. Giving up happens when we no longer get what we want from it. So the important part is to reevaluate what it is that you want and then see if there's an avenue towards the meshing of the two. Like, can I create and be satisfied with that creation? And can I learn and be satisfied with that learning? And can I grow and be satisfied with that growth? And what's the Venn diagram of those things? Like, where do those overlay? And then that's where you're going to find the most happiness, right? I don't know why I didn't just fucking draw that stuff. I'm like, here, look at my fucking hands. I understand the desire, the need to get away from something, right? To get some distance. But I will say this as far as giving up art and giving up on drawing and creating. I've never felt so unhappy as when I came back to it and realized how much my skills had atrophied because of my struggle to continue on with it. It is a long journey. Artwork there's no magic pill. There's no quick way to improve your skills. It's an arduous process. But if you can do a thing where you start your drawing, or you start a journey and you say, I'm going to do 100 heads a week for 3 months or something, and you document what that looks like, you'll see an increase in your skill level, and that if you're looking for increases in skill, that will give you what you need to keep moving forward. And then you just pick other little things that can help you to kind of lock in on a thing that's going to move you forward as an artist, right? But that's only if you really want to do that. If it's the improvement that's going to make you want to keep creating, right? If it's not the improvement, what is it? At a certain point, I had to realize that social media and all of that stuff is not the reason that I create art. The art that I create, the things that I make, are strictly for my own good. They're for my own improvement. They're for my own benefit, my own love, and my own passion of making something. So it's really just about creating a visual and not doing it for external validation. And that act of recognizing it, that acknowledgement of what it's for, helped me to let go of the expectations of posting it online and getting likes and who was looking at my stuff and why wasn't anybody commenting, because I feel like a lot of people will lose their touch with art because they feel like people aren't they're not recognizing that you do art. But if you take that out of the equation, if you reduce the ego's need in your art, then you'll be in a better place where it doesn't really matter what people say about it, whether it be good or bad. And at the same time, you want to acknowledge when people say something nice about your work. You want to say, thank you, I appreciate that, that's very kind of you to say, or something along those lines, right? But if somebody comes at you and they're negative, you can be like, well, that's your opinion, and you may or may not be good at it. You may or may not even recognize skill levels. You may or may not have an understanding. But above everything else, you may or may not know where I am in my journey. So I can only take advice from you based on how much value I give your advice. Everyone thinks there's a magic button, and there isn't. It's just work. Yes. And talent is applied passion. Daniel hasn't got a shred of talent in him. What he does have is the ability to observe, the ability to remember, and the ability to work really fucking hard. I don't know. Maybe he does have talent, but and making you God. I'm glad that it helps. And yes, there is a lot of negativity, but I will say this: dump the online stuff. I stopped posting on Instagram for like a year. Just drop that and keep creating for yourself. Don't worry about what other people are saying. Give yourself some parameters for moving forward. Like, I'm going to work on this, and then I'm going to work on that. Being an artist, you have to be very self-aware. You have to look at yourself and say, what are my limitations? And how do I increase those limitations how do I make my foibles and my faults be something that is now something a positive, a net positive. And then kindly invite those critiquers to play a game of hide and go fuck themselves. Yes. Honestly, just focus on learning and creating what you love. Yeah, 100%. 100%. I think that too frequently what happened to you happens to a lot of people around art, because we all went to school, and we were all required to have a multitude of math, English, and science classes. We were not required to have art classes, right? So we went from kindergarten all the way up through high school, taking all these math, science, and hard science stuff, right? And English even, right? And then somewhere along the way, somebody said to you, you're not good at this. And you just never got further into it, right? So you never pushed through that moment that somebody said you're not good at it. And that happens to a lot of people. But if we were required every year to have an art class that was fundamental, then we would be in a different position. We'd be in a place where we had all of the fundamental skills of art drilled into us, just like we had the fundamental skills of writing and mathematics and science and all of these things drilled into us throughout the entirety of our educational careers. So we would be able to fall back on some type of creativity around art, be it drawing, painting, sculpture, or any of those things, and use those fundamental skills to then blossom into a further art. Just like somebody does it as a writer that like says, I want to go from college to writing articles to becoming a novelist, and that's just a transition for them because they have those skills in a more fundamental way, right? So don't let the naysayers, be it a teacher or a peer group or the fuckheads on the internet, the multitude of fuckheads on the internet, influence you. Have your ego take a backseat, and you will find that you're in a much better place mentally and emotionally, and it won't affect you as much. And I'm not saying that it's not going to, and I'm not saying don't read those negative comments, blah, 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 because it's fucking impossible to not read those comments, but try to detach from those comments and just be like, whatever, they don't know anything about where I'm at, what my path is, and where my art is headed, right? Because they don't. Nobody knows who you are on the inside, and nobody knows your struggles and the way that you need to get over things and move through certain things and understandings and arts and everything, right? So yeah, just put that shit behind you. Keep moving forward as a powerful human being with the ability to create like we all have. And I think you'll find yourself in a much better place. Yeah, well, detach from the ego. Detach from the part of you that is looking to them to tell you that you're good enough to do your art. You're good enough to do your art because you're a human being, and we all create. We all make art. Every second of every day, there is some type of art going on, right? And we're all creating things. You don't know me. You don't know me at all. Yeah, I hate hearing stories like that, where people are like, you know, they want to get out of creation and making art and being a artist in any way, shape, or form because of other people judging them. So the best possible thing to do is shut that down. Don't listen to those voices and enjoy yourself. Just be there for you, not for everyone else. So yeah, that was really fucking long-winded. Sorry about that detour, people, but I feel like that really needed to be said. Make the art that makes you happy, no matter what it is. A lot of the stuff that makes me happy, nobody's ever gonna see, and I don't care. I'm in a much better place mentally and emotionally because I created it. If I'm having a shitty day, I'll get up and draw something that I'm gonna see and nobody else is gonna see, and fuck everybody. I mean, I'm not gonna fuck it. You know what I'm saying. Anyway, because it's not TOS friendly. You damn right, Daniel Landerman. It sure ain't, but it makes me happy. Puts a smile on my face and a squish in my step. Ew. That was a very impassioned moment here in the arts department, for a good reason, I feel like, because that is actually kind of my pet peeve, right? And it's also the place that people get the preconceived notion that that art takes talent, right? Because it just takes a whole lot of stick-to-itiveness, because you have to encounter people that are naysayers and tell them to fuck off. And people used to say that to me. They'd be like, "You're so talented," and I'd be like, "No, I'm just dumb. I just never listened when people told me that I couldn't do something." You suck. You should stop. Why don't you get a job? Why don't you get a real job? You should go to the army. Blah 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 blah. Whatever. And I just kept at it. Just did my thing and kept doing it. And ultimately, that got me where I'm at, because I just kept practicing and practicing and practicing and practicing and practicing. Because that's really where the growth in art comes from. Comes from not stopping. The people that stop are the people that don't win in the art game. And the interesting thing is, only you get to decide what winning in the art game is. If you keep your head down and you work hard, a real job is going to be whatever you make of it, because you will be the commodity. The creators, the people that are doing this stuff, that are designing, that are drawing, that are making posters, that are making videos, that are streaming, that are doing all those things, those are the people that are going to make money in the future, because the future is based around creators. It's not based around corporations. It's based around us. So if you want to succeed, keep your head down, study fucking hard, study it like it's the only thing that you have to do in the world. Yes, Maddie, we do make the world beautiful. And we do that by holding a mirror up to the world, by showing the world the beauty of it and the things that it can achieve and the things that it can be, right? So if you stick to your guns and you continue to practice and you practice and practice and you find those things you're not good at and you practice them and make them good, and then you find the other things that you're not good at and you practice them and you make them good, you're going to find your path, and that path is going to lead you to something that is a real job. So when you start making, real money doing what you love, getting a job at a grocery store or at a McDonald's or a coffee shop is going to be no. That's going to be an absolute no for you. And you're going to see that if you work even harder at the things that you love, you'll leave behind that thought even, and it will never be an option again.
Just do it!
Group hug.
Group hug indeed. Congratulations, my friend.
And then she asked me to see my nipple.
Oh, shit.
And I said, I'm more than a piece of nipple meat.
Well, that was free nipples for you guys.